NFL record for the worst completion percentage. This is a game you need to win. This is a divisional matchup against a team you should beat. This is how you stack up wins. Hello and welcome back to episode 29 of i75Live. We are back. We took a week off. It was a pretty busy week of a lot of stuff going on.
A week of sickness for Dawson as well.
Yeah, it wasn't very fun, but it was, it is what it is.
Little trip to Chicago.
Yeah, both.
Everybody went to Chicago.
Everyone did.
Yeah,
some people
we were enjoying that single-digit weather.
Drive back and
got to hang out with a bunch of Bears fans and feel their misery.
Watch some hockey.
I was in a bar for the championship of the hockey game, so that was fun.
It was amazing hearing the USA chants.
It was
cool.
pretty cool. In that part of the country, they definitely
they give a shit about their hockey.
They care a little bit more up there.
That's a top 3 sport for them, probably.
But yes, we're back, and there's a lot to talk about. The NFL Combine is this week. We're going to touch a little bit at the NHL because that was huge, as the ratings show that. And then also, I know TGL is wrapping up the regular season, I believe, in the next couple days.
Oh, okay.
So we'll kind of maybe give our opinions on what we think of the first regular season at TGL as well. I know we don't have that kind of noted out, but I just saw that on my phone.
Yep.
So to start off, though, the NHL. I think this was really, really fun. It's the classic of, I think with hockey, it's always going to be, Canada versus USA, who's better, what's this? And it was really cool for a lot of reasons, as in I didn't know this until you told me.
I feel like a lot of people, they didn't really advertise
they really didn't.
This for much. But yeah, this replaced their All-Star weekend. This was like, instead of their regular All-Star break where they have some half-assed hockey game and players get recognized, this was competitive. It was the 4 nations face off. It was 4 teams. What is it, like a round robin tournament is what you would call it?
Yeah, it was like a round robin, and they got seeded, had like a playoffs, and then had
US,
a championship.
Canada, Finland, and Sweden.
Even though nobody
all of
cared.
NHL players.
Nobody cared about the other countries though. They even said like, who did we play before? Nobody knows, right? It was only USA versus Canada.
They knew it was going to be the end, but that was enough. This was second most watched hockey game of this decade. Only second to last year's Game 7 in the Stanley Cup. And yeah, replacing the All-Star weekend with this, genius idea.
It was a great idea because I think naturally it's hard not, as a player, it would be hard not to take it serious and like not just think of it as some stupid All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helped it a ton of just the the shit talking and the attitude that it brought.
And the fights.
How about disrespecting the national anthem?
And there were like however many fights within the first 8 seconds. So that was
so funny.
That was pretty cool. But I mean, I think, and there's been a lot of media surrounding of hockey guys talking about, well, it just means more, and then they play hurt, they play injured.
It's not a sport that you can half-ass. Like, that's not a sport that you can show
just
up
go
on
out
the
there,
ice and
run around a little bit, take some shots, and
you will get your
call
ass
it a night,
beat.
jump on the plane, and go home.
It was fun too to be hanging out with a guy that actually played hockey at West Virginia.
Oh, really?
And he was watching that game, and so sitting there, kind of just talking about some of the that first goal. He was talking about how he loved to do that, just the way that they screened. Like, Dawson, you did that a lot.
Yeah, it was lacrosse.
It was fun hanging out with somebody that actually knew the sport, knew a lot of guys in the NHL.
It's a great sport.
It really is, and it's I know I saw so many tweets of I've never seen a hockey game in my life, but this shit's awesome. I'm into this.
It did a lot.
Right now.
They grew.
But
the game
that was
in a
the
major
USA
way.
Versus Canada of
yes.
everything going on in the world.
It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't USA.
We get
Canada.
it. We get it in the Olympics next year.
I know that's what I said.
NHL players are allowed to play this time, and first time in a while. I don't remember the last time it was allowed, but I know it's been over a decade.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Well, the other leagues need to take a lesson from this.
Oh, they do.
So I was thinking about this. I don't know how you could truly do this.
NBA is who I'm thinking of, is who could really implement this and do world versus the US.
But at that point, the US is going to win every time.
In the NBA, I don't know. World might take that. You got Giannis, Jokic, and Giannis. And
I
Jokic
guess
right there
because
alone.
then they're not all on separate teams like the Olympics, to where they're all kind of spread apart.
Or you could do
like how golf does the Ryder Cup, to where it's everyone from like different, and then so yeah,
It could be,
if
yeah,
they do
you
it
could
like
do it
that.
with the NBA.
But then
There's
at that point though, what do you do to make them care about it? Like, what do you do to build that tradition and build that rivalry that USA Canada has?
Do what MLB does with their All-Star game, and the winner of that game determine. Oh, but
No,
you
that
can't because that's their leagues breaking up. Because what MLB does is the winner of that
gets
game,
the home.
they get home field advantage in the championship.
I'm trying to think of how you can truly make it to have that atmosphere of this means a lot.
There's only two
I just don't
sports
know
you
how
could
you
do it
can
in:
do it.
NHL and NBA. That's it. You couldn't do it in football. Couldn't do it
Football
in
would be
baseball.
too
I
You
mean,
could do it
baseball
in
would be what?
baseball.
USA against Japan.
Baseball,
No, you could do it in
definitely-
baseball.
You could definitely do it.
Like half the league of MLB are from different countries.
Oh yeah.
So you could do it, but
You could have like
but
a
it's not
Dominican
about
Republic
doing it. It's
team
about how do you make it matter?
for the players.
Like, how do you build that rivalry of, okay, this like means something. Like, I take pride in wanting to win this game and be a part of this game. How do you do that the same way that hockey has?
I don't know.
That
'cause
would be my question.
Hockey is the only one that really has that deeply rooted rivalry
Yes.
between two countries in one sport.
And you've seen it, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we have another opportunity to do this every year now
Yeah.
with this. Not just the Olympics, not just, some of the other stuff they do. Hell yeah. So to me, I don't know what you would have to do.
This may honestly just be the golden goose for the NHL then, and something that just propels them up, because this is something that can't be replicated by any other sport. And I'm all for it because I love hockey.
Oh.
There is no reason in hell that Atlanta should have gotten rid of their hockey team,
That
years
sucks.
back, because now they're having trouble selling out, half their capacity up in Winnipeg for like Canada needed another hockey team. It's especially in Winnipeg. Atlanta, the Thrashers, some of the coolest jerseys in the NHL back then. They just scrapped them.
I remember going to a couple games.
Oh, it was
but
great.
to me, this is, like you said, it might just be NHL's thing.
And that's
There's
good for them.
There's something about hockey
I love
and
hockey.
Canada. I went to a hockey game in Canada. In
Hockey
Calgary.
game is awesome.
I watched the Calgary. It was a preseason game, Calgary against the San Jose Sharks.
I bet it was
and you'd have
packed
thought
full.
it was absolutely packed.
A
You'd have thought
playoff
it was a
game.
Stanley Cup final. You'd have thought it was Game 7. Those people didn't care that it was
Yep.
preseason. They love their hockey.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's just like I don't see people booing the NBA or the national anthem at
I
an
feel
NBA
like-
game, and the NBA player, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was like that.
Hockey fandom
It's
and
unique
NBA
to
fandom
hockey.
just isn't the same. And I would argue that we had this discussion talking about basketball in general, sports though in general in the US. It's really it's a luxury to be able to go to the game, and it shouldn't be. Because like you look at sports around the world, like Serbian basketball, I would challenge any of you to go look up a single regular season game for Serbian basketball and tell me that that's not one of the most lively experiences ever. That's what happens when you let diehard fans go to the games. Because now, like, you're pricing tickets up hundreds of bucks. You're realistically, your real diehard fans that make the team part of their lives aren't going to be able to afford that over and over
Well,
again.
what's funny is it makes me think of I remember reading something and listening to something about when Detroit had their playoff games this year,
Mm-hmm.
or
The
their
Lions?
the Lions, and some of their fans were saying, season ticket holders were going, the normal people that made Detroit
Aren't here.
aren't here
Yeah.
because the tickets were too expensive.
Yep.
They couldn't afford it. So the
It's not how
people
it
who
should
were
be.
there, and he was like, I was a season ticket holder. I went every single game. I went there and I was looking around and I was like,
These people are on their phones.
They don't what are these
care.
people
Yeah,
here
who the hell
for?
are these people?
They don't even know who's playing. They're
It's
just
for
here for the
it's-
beer. They're just here for this.
Those playoff games and those Super Bowls and like championship games are for celebrities, and it's ridiculous. Those games, I argue, should be the cheapest of the season because you're getting so much other money pulled in from having a nationally
Well, that's what they're
televised.
playing for. It's like you
event.
play the regular season for free as a player,
Yeah.
and you get paid to play in the playoffs. Like that's what
But
it
it
should be
just
about.
goes
Those
to
games-
like, I mean, like my example of the people who make that stadium what it was and how it's like this is what it's like coming into our stadium. They weren't there because they couldn't
Yeah.
afford it.
And that's not to say that those Four Nation tickets weren't
Yeah.
up the ass expensive, but
Yeah.
the diehard fans still showed up.
Yeah.
And that's what could happen in every single one of your games, including regular season, if you just dropped the ticket prices and, you know, let go of corporate greed, but that's never going to happen.
No,
So,
it will never
No,
happen.
never going to happen.
It will never happen.
Money's too nice.
So,
speaking of corporate greed, let's talk about.
So this is a little something that we were talking about. It's our little conspiracy theory that we have with Luka and the whole Lakers Dallas Mavericks situation.
This trade was fabricated.
So
it was fabricated.
I think, or we think, as a collective group here at the i75Live podcast, we believe that this was facilitated over the past couple years because we've seen that Mark Cuban has kind of sold some of his.
He's a
no
minority.
majority shareholder.
He's a minority owner.
More and more people have started to kind of put their fingers on this thing, on that team. So I think that they looked at Luka. We've talked about Luka. Amazing talent, very young, 5-time All NBA player. Average is damn near triple. I know he's been hurt this year, whatever. Amazing player. So Dallas, as we know, or as we kind of have seen within the sports realm, a lot of teams are wanting to go to Vegas.
Yep, and they're close. They're pretty close to Vegas.
Not. I mean, closer than some teams.
Oh, they're pretty close.
We believe that the ownership and the people, they want to move a team to.
Yep.
The NBA.
That team is none other
than I think the Vegas Mavericks.
Well, think about it. The NBA, so in just a few short years, the NBA is going to be the odd one out of Vegas. They're going to be the only major, I think maybe MLS hasn't made it to Vegas yet.
I think they...
But even then, I know the WNBA has one. The Oakland A's are moving to Vegas within the next few years. They already have a football team. They already have a hockey team.
Yeah.
And so, NBA's last. And
show me a team that doesn't make more sense than the Mavericks.
Especially, so yes, I think that makes perfect sense. They're a prime candidate to move, and it will take some time, like 3 to 5 years. And so with a player that is considered to be one of the next faces of the league, why would you want to waste some of his prime years on a team that's dead in the water?
And the NBA doesn't want to do that.
In 3 to 5 years.
That's right.
So
the NBA,
that's
it's
money
their
out the
brand.
door. That's money that cannot be made. So why not move him to a team that ironically has your face of the league right now, has been the face of the league for the last 20 years, pass the torch onto a team that is already one of your most valuable franchises in one of the most valuable markets.
That's right.
I mean,
literally,
it makes too much sense.
I think they cut bait in Dallas because they know they have to rip this team totally down to move it to another city. And so why take down somebody's career like that literally is a generational player?
What's better than doing this, but on top of that, creating a narrative that he can run with for his entire career and feed the league, storylines, Luka, chip on his shoulder, traded for nothing for the rest of his career. People are going to be talking about that. And then, while all this is going on and attention's being paid to that, in the background, the NBA is getting ready to make billions of dollars in the sports gambling capital of the U.S.
It just all makes too much sense.
Way too much sense.
And wait until he gets traded back to the Vegas Mavericks and wins a championship.
And
late in his career.
The name kind of rings a bell, too, not going to lie. The Vegas
Mavericks sounds good. They wouldn't need to change their name,
No.
just the city.
So you heard it here. You heard it here first. i75Live.
This is our conspiracy theory.
We called it. Let's see what happens.
If it happens in 3 to 5 years, we're spinning back on this video.
You guys know where to find
and
us.
if you disagree with this, let us know.
Feel free.
Because we
Feel
believe
free.
You guys know where to find
Sorry,
us.
Mavericks fans.
MLB has started up. Spring training games have started to happen. I know. So another great thing that I saw is I know last year across the league there was a huge shortage of people being able to watch games.
Yep.
When it came to ballet and when it came to all that, cable. Well, if I don't have this cable, I can't pay for it. I can't do this.
Yep.
So it's pretty great that now ballet is FanDuel. And if you do not have a cable provider that supports the FanDuel Sports Network or whatever, you can now just pay for the FanDuel.
Yes.
So it is really cool.
How much is it?
It's $20 a month
Oh, that's nothing.
Not bad.
That's
It's
worth it.
it's
really
$20 a
not bad.
month. It's $105 for the whole season,
Okay.
or it's I think $180 for a whole year.
Hmm.
So I think they did good on this because last year it was really unfortunate that just because you didn't have one of the supported cable companies, you couldn't access this channel.
Yeah, I
So
know.
now people who have, I know a lot of people have YouTube TV. We do.
Mhm.
They don't supply
MLB.
FanDuel Network or Ballet or whatever. Now, if you want to watch your team, you want to watch, for us the Braves, I can just spend the money to buy a subscription straight through the app, and I get all access to all the games.
I don't know if
So-
you guys know this, but when it comes to the cable providers, and we used to have cable, I know you guys don't know what that is, and now all the streaming, the sports stations have always been the ones that have driven, and they've never let the sports go. Like if they let ESPN not be a part of, say, a YouTube TV, everybody would drop it.
Oh yeah.
And so, or
That's
and-
already happening.
Yeah, they
did
had
it,
to. So the sports are
what
powerful. They
sport
need
was
them.
it?
They
The-
need
and
those
You-
sports,
YouTube
and that's what
TV
drives the
Was it?
money that people pay every month.
YouTube TV just did that. I think they stopped providing. I think it was something to
Well,
do
no,
with the NBA.
that was a short term. They came back
Oh,
with it. It
okay.
was CBS, so they were
That,
saying about
yeah.
NFL games.
Yeah.
But the bigger point, though,
Did you hear the
is
Netflix news with the NFL?
Well, I don't even know, but to finish this up though, basically by Ballet, or I guess it's now FanDuel,
Mhm.
by them being the first one to break away from the network providers or from these, service providers like a YouTube TV, this could literally be the
Starting
first
the-
domino
Oh,
to
yeah.
where it will finally break up all this bullshit that we have with all these
Streaming
apps
wars.
and all the money they charge us for all these
Yeah.
dumbass stations that nobody ever fucking watches. So it's about time that somebody does this and leave it
Yeah.
to FanDuel now to be the first one. So we'll see what happens in the next few years.
DraftKings is going to follow. We're going to see a a Prize Picks
I wouldn't be
sports
surprised.
network. That's great. But yeah, Netflix.
I don't know how I feel about those guys owning them because now they've got money in. Like,
Yeah.
do they, tell the ref the call to make? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure that's been if it's been happening, But yeah, Netflix apparently is in the running to have sole ownership. They're running for all of the rights to the NFL, like every single
What?
primetime game, every game, and having it stream through Netflix. Could you imagine the nightmare that would be in the buffering?
Could you imagine
would
how
take
much
place.
Netflix is going to change their monthly subscription to?
Yeah, it's gonna be like $50 a month
Wow.
minimum.
Crazy.
Well,
man.
it would actually, then you wouldn't need Sunday
Ugh.
ticket. So they're going to have to make up for that volume. That just seems absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that'd be a dumb.
Yeah, you're walking
expensive.
away from that
Mhm.
income.
Yep.
Yeah. You're going to have to make up.
Netflix
Wow.
is going to be on the level of Disney at some point, probably in like the next 15, 20 years, probably. Just has their hand dipped in absolutely everything.
Wow.
That'd be dumb expensive. But yes,
Mhm.
MLB, Dodgers look great. Their pitching looks great right now.
Probably
They're
going to win the World Series.
they're favored to win the World Series
fortunately.
again. I'd still
They're
say
plus 275 to win the World Series.
Yeah.
That's not like the season hasn't even started yet, and the MLB and bettors everywhere are saying there's no shot.
I still think there's some good teams out there though.
yeah,
I think the Braves
definitely.
will be good. I think
Braves
the,
will be
the
very
Phillies
good.
will always be good. The Orioles are always good. The
Mets?
Yankees are gonna be good. Maybe the
Oh,
Mets.
no, not maybe. Juan Soto.
I don't know about their pitching. We'll see.
Their
But
pitching.
Juan Soto, yes. But no, they're Houston will probably always be up. The Boston, there's a lot of buzz going around Boston.
Boston
right
is
now.
a sleeper team for me. Them and the Padres really are kind of question marks.
Yeah, the Padres
the
had a
Bo-
good little
Boston
run last
got-
year.
Boston got a lot better
Yeah.
this offseason. Like
So
a
it
lot
will
better.
it will be fun, and I know baseball kind of gets very monotony, but I'd say it's pretty. It helps that we're good around here, and it helps that we live so close to where they play.
Yep.
It is pretty popular around here, so that's always you always start to feel the buzz of
Mm-hmm.
the Battery and people going back to the games and
We
everything.
live
like
so
that,
close.
so.
Our taxes went up when they built that stadium.
Yeah, I know.
But it's a nice stadium.
Oh, it's great.
It's a very nice
it's very
stadium.
fun. If you live in the Atlanta area and you have not been down to the Battery on a Braves Saturday game, Friday game,
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, you're
it's a
missing
lot
out.
of fun and you're missing out. I would highly recommend. Even if you're out of town and you're coming into Atlanta for something
Yep.
and you know there's a Braves game going on, go down to the Battery. Even if you don't go to the game,
There's
you'll
tons of
know
bars
exactly
and
what I'm saying.
food.
There's something to do for everyone, and just be in that atmosphere. It's a great time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great time.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
But take a little break real quick to promote our show. While we're here, go ahead and leave a like on the video, drop some comments, follow our social media pages because we work very hard on posting, consistently and on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all of the support. And yeah, hopefully a year from now, I mean, continuously doing this, we'll see. We'll see. But we enjoy having you guys along for the ride. But on to NFL.
NFL, yes. Yeah, so this was kind of funny. I know there's been a lot of stuff going on of Jim Nantz talking about it, lots of other coaches and teams, but a team has submitted a request for the ban of the good old tush push.
The tush push.
And at first it was kind of
ass
like
blast.
it wasn't what's the word? Anonymous. And everyone was kind of guessing on who it was. The Packers, though.
The most random team to
Yeah,
have a gripe with this play.
I would like to say though, it might be like, hey, like just take the fall for it. Like just be the guy to like
It was
say
you guys.
it was
No one
you.
cares if it was you guys.
No, yeah, no one's gonna care.
You'll be applauded if it was you.
So
We're sick of it.
I don't know. Like I don't want to go too much into this again because we've talked about it a lot. Something's got to get looked at. Something's got to get changed.
It's not football.
The formation. It's
not fair.
It's just not
fair.
It's
They were
not-
even saying, how about a team can only run it once a game or twice a game?
no.
And
even
I
that. 'Cause
hate
then
that.
it's-
I just want it
no,
gone.
Don't
No,
run it at all.
just look at it as
Don't run it at all.
just something's got to change. So, but it was kind of funny
Mm-hmm.
that it was like anonymous and everyone was guessing, and then like an hour later it was like, oh, it was the Packers.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh, I bet it was the Chiefs." The Commanders probably did this. Even the Rams. No, the random ass team like the Packers played them in Week 1.
Yeah.
The Falcons, didn't they come out and say that they didn't
Yeah,
like it?
so head coaches have come out in support of this
Raheem
since
Morris
then.
said-
Raheem
yeah.
Morris, the Falcons coach, and then Sean McDermott, which, I mean, surprise, surprise, the Bills head coach. But Raheem Morris came out and said he thought it should have been banned like 3 years ago. That I think was pretty funny. And I'm sure we'll continue to see it, but I don't know when the vote is. I'm sure it'll be like within the next few weeks.
Yeah,
before,
I know they
before
ha-
the new league year starts. The new
Yeah.
league year starts March 12th.
Yeah.
That's when free agency starts as well.
Yeah.
Things are moving quickly. We'll have probably a guest next week.
Another
talking about
thing, that Matthew Stafford granted permission. To me, this doesn't make sense.
For the Rams, I don't think it makes sense at all. But on top of that,
But I don't think it makes sense for Matthew
well,
Stafford,
Stafford
either.
apparently wants $50 million next year.
And if that's the
Like,
case, then
that's
yeah.
crazy.
But
Who's paying him? That?
Yeah, I don't know. Matthew Stafford, though, I mean,
You've got everything you need.
that team is everything you need.
Where are you gonna
like,
go and
why
have-
would you
yeah.
leave McVay for
don't know.
the Raiders, the Colts, the
maybe
Steelers,
maybe
or the
this
Jets?
is the Rams pushing this though.
Maybe.
because
The same way
because
they
he
did with
wants
Cooper
$50
Kupp.
million next year. I don't know, but I mean, just for shits and giggles, just to talk about teams that could use him. I think the Colts could make sense if not for the $50 million price tag. I don't think anybody's giving him that. Let's be honest here. At this
Too
point
old.
of his career, he's had like 3 or 4 arm injuries, not just injuries in general.
He's too old.
Arm injuries.
He can come to Miami.
So I saw a scenario. Think about this, where the Rams and the Jets swap quarterbacks.
Again? Or no, not again,
No,
but
but
kind of what they did.
Rodgers and McVay, and then Stafford over in New York.
I don't know.
It'd be
Like,
cool.
unless if I was Stafford, I would be like, hey, I'd rather play the last couple years with a really good team, a really good coach, than try to make a bag and try to just capitalize on as much money as I can before I'm done with this thing.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. The Colts is interesting. The Dolphins is interesting because you've got some pretty good
Dolphins.
weapons over there, a pretty good
The
offensive-minded
Raiders,
coach.
Raiders, Steelers.
I don't know. You're in a better situation with the Rams, I think.
Oh, I agree.
So
This whole thing makes no sense,
Yeah.
but
next
We've seen
one.
crazier
This
things.
one, I thought this was gonna. I mean, I going into it, I was like, yeah, he's gonna do one more. Travis Kelce is expected yesterday coming out that
He's
the
gonna be
GM
back.
was it the GM?
I think so.
The GM said that he's had conversations with Travis and they expect him to be back next year. So the rumor is he is coming back to take another year.
What a
and another
joke.
paycheck.
He's gonna have to. I don't know how you look at him and go, hey, we know you're Travis Kelce. Yes, everything you've done.
He
but
ordered more sandbags for next season. Don't
you
worry.
played like shit last year.
He did.
Travis
and that's
Kelce?
not me just being.
He had an off year. So
He had one game in the regular season over 100 yards.
and even then, so we look at that, like his stats were not bad. I look back at them, 97 catches for like almost 900 yards. The touchdowns weren't there, but like you look at that, any other tight end, like
Yeah.
take his name away and you see those stats and you're like, oh, pretty damn good season for a tight end. But he's been so great for so damn long that it's like his standards are up fucking here. So even if he's down here one season, it's going to be highlighted. So like I can't say that, but he was not himself. He was not what
No.
we've seen in the past. So
He
saw that in
had
the Super Bowl.
Taylor
Yeah.
on his mind. And you know what, Travis Kelsey? If you're watching this, you need to give some money back to your organization because
That's
you
what I
played
was
like
just
shit
about to
last
say
year.
that.
And you know, all they need
Well,
to do
no,
is show
it's
you
just-
one play that you took off and you let Mahomes
Yeah.
run for his life and you sat
That's
there
a
going, "How
bad
come you didn't
look.
throw?" Like that's
Well,
why
a
you
bad
should
look.
give your
The
money
whole
back.
Super
That's a bad
Bowl, the
look.
whole Super Bowl, that's what it was.
That was a bad look.
It was play after play after play.
He
of
just
just
wasn't
like,
there.
do you want to be on the field right now?
He like from it seemed like from play one that he was defeated, and not he wasn't the only one on that team. It was more than just him. But I was just about to say that I think this only makes sense if he takes a pay cut. He's got to, because I think his tag is the last
think
year of
it's-
his deal is probably like around 13 to 17
I
million.
think it's 16 million.
Yeah. So that it straps Kansas City even more than they already were, because they've got a lot of holes to fix on that roster. They need 2 new offensive tackles. They're not gonna be able to pay Trey Smith. He's getting a bag, hopefully from Chicago. But on top of that, Nick Bolton is still a free agent, and that is your most important player on defense. So something has to give, and it's not gonna be Travis Kelsey apparently.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, it's cool if you want to come back and play another year, Travis.
If he
but
really wants another ring, then
Yeah,
pay cut is
yeah,
height.
I
Pay cut.
agree.
If you're really
Yeah.
coming to play.
I agree.
Because we just saw Chris, Dolphins left tackle Teron Armstead was supposed to be making $28 million next year, and he met with ownership yesterday. This came out that he's going all the way down to the veteran minimum so that they can
Wow.
use that money to go.
And to me,
find
There's
other
a guy that
talent.
wants a ring.
That's a guy, who, wants to win.
win.
Knows,
Yeah.
hey,
Well,
I'm
look
on the
what-
back half of my career.
How many times did Brady do this to make his contracts
Yeah.
favorable
Mahomes
so they could
does
put
it as
pieces
well.
around him?
Mahomes, like the way his contract is structured is to give the team leeway, but you've got so much money tied into Jawan Taylor. Chris Jones is still making a shit ton, and then Kelsey. It's not
They're gonna
a
have
recipe
to-
for
yeah.
sustained success. It has been, but now it's catching up to
And
you.
if he truly wants to come back and try to win another championship with Mahomes
Pay cut.
before he just says done,
pay cut.
I mean, that's
So that offense
what
is
it
going
has
to
to
be.
be.
If they can fix the O-line, that offense is fucking terrifying.
you have
next year.
Mahomes.
Rasheed Rice is coming
all you
back.
need is Mahomes.
You've got. I would assume they go out and find a running back, another running back, because Kareem Hunt, I would imagine, is not coming back, and Pacheco can't stay healthy. So that they've got, other tight ends besides Kelsey. They've got, a good stout unit. And then, Rasheed Rice, Xavier Worthy, those
Well,
two together, that's
And the
nasty.
defense has also been the backbone of
The
that
defense is
team the
gonna-
past couple years.
yeah.
And like we've mentioned, there's a lot of guys
They're
on that defense.
20
are free
unrestricted
agents.
free agents.
And
20.
you're gonna need to spend some money.
There's
to
no
keep
way
some
they can keep all of them.
There's
No,
well,
no.
there isn't. You're
No,
you-
hell no.
they'll- even if
Their starting
even if
safety,
Mahomes
Justin
does what he
Reed,
needs to
is-
do,
yeah.
even if Chris Jones and everyone restructures their contract,
There's no way.
there's still no way.
But,
But-
so this is salary cap's getting bumped up 20 million next
Yeah.
year. So that I'm sure allows the Chiefs a little bit more leeway.
That'll pay for Kelsey.
That'll pay for
You could
Kelsey.
look at it like
There
that.
you go.
yeah.
So
But even
Yeah,
that though,
true.
that's not right to the team because you can't
No.
take the entire salary cap bump
Nick Bolton
and give it to one player that
Well,
really
no,
isn't
yeah.
performing at
Nick
the level
Bolton
he usually.
deserves to be a top 3, paid linebacker, and he probably will,
he will.
somewhere if
He
it's
will.
not going to be Kansas City. So it's
I think the Bengals should do it, but
yeah, I mean, especially with Jermaine
to go on
Pratt.
top of the Bengals a little bit of with this same discussion is
Another tight end that was rumored to come out
Well,
of
that-
retirement. I would
yeah.
like to bring this up really quick. It was a
was-
fake report. He came out this morning and said, apparently people know more about him than he does about himself. But there was a funny little joke coming out that Rob Gronkowski was looking at coming back.
yeah, that was a joke.
So Dawson, your thoughts?
I mean,
You'd like to see Gronk
As long as
come-
Brady comes back
Would you like
too,
to
then
see
I guess
Gronk
why not?
hobble on back?
There's no way in hell he'd come back. Would it be cool? Yeah,
He's
I
gotten a
love
lot
him.
smaller.
I think
He's
he's
lost
Yeah,
some
I
weight.
mean,
it
he'd
would
have
do
to
a
put
lot
on.
for his
He'd have to put on
reputation
so
to
much
come back
weight.
and-
He'd have to. It's stupid. It's stupid. It was a funny little story that everyone's bored right now.
There's so much fake news out there. You don't know what's real
But
anymore.
the real news though, the JJ Watt, this story is so
this is
awesome.
even more.
I love this because
It was a
JJ
cool
Watt,
story,
I
but him.
believe,
Yeah, no,
I
you're
believe,
not.
I believe it.
No.
Well, first it would have to be something
Gronk
that's
has a
happened.
higher chance of coming back than JJ Watt does.
I mean,
If I was looking at the two
ah,
of the two stories coming out the past couple days of guys coming out of retirement, Gronk has a better chance than
I don't
JJ
know.
Watt.
JJ Watt apparently says he's in shape, which I
They're
don't
all
doubt.
in shape, but
Well,
football
no,
shape.
he said football shape, like he still trains for it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
For that type of position, like Jason Kelsey, he said he's lost like almost 60 pounds because of the weight that he had to maintain for that position. So,
I think there's a higher chance that Eberflus gets a head coaching job with the Bears before that ever happens.
that's funny. That was a good one.
Hey, I
So
mean,
guys, before we go on to the combine, I just wanted to say, so Matt Stafford, Dawson, I think you're right. I think he should stay there. First of all, his salary cap hit this year is $49 million.
Wow.
27 million in cash.
Makes sense why
His career earnings are $364 million. Not to mention endorsements. Come on. Dude, Matthew, Stafford, come on. You don't need any more money. Finish your career out. You're 37 years old. How many more years do you have in you?
you already have a ring.
You have a ring.
Yeah.
You're leaving. If you do leave, you're leaving. I
Luka.
would.
A quarter of a
Well,
billion,
I
a
would
third of
say
$1 billion he's earned. in the
You're
NFL.
leaving a head coach who is, I mean, top 5 head coach in the NFL,
Oh,
in my
yes.
opinion.
Top
when it
one
comes
play
from
caller probably.
From when it comes
Well,
to
Andy Reid.
So
That it makes zero sense.
that
Well,
at
why
cap
would
all.
hit though
He's-
makes sense though.
he's
of
under
why they were like,
contract for 2
hey,
more
if you
years.
want to go somewhere else,
Yeah.
we don't care.
He's not a free agent until 27. They don't have, they either have to cut him.
feel
They're not
like
going to let him go.
This could be
He's already
a
making
move,
$50 million a year.
This could be a move by the Rams to try and talk Stafford down a little bit in his current contract and be like, go find out what other teams think you're worth, and that's what we're gonna pay you.
For
if
your
he,
last
re- if
couple
he doesn't
years.
want, yeah, for your last couple of years. And I doubt teams are willing to pay half of that because, like I said, he's dealt with arm injuries. He's not mobile. He's been hurt. It's no.
I agree.
It's not.
It happens.
it's-
Everybody
to
gets
yeah,
hurt.
it
another
makes no
quarterback
sense.
though, it's not. He's not on our list, but another quarterback that's
Kirk.
no. Well, that's a whole nother story. But no, the whole Burrow and
Oh.
Bengals thing going on
Mm-hmm.
to where T Higgins and Jamar Chase wanting 40+ million a year, for his new contract that he wants. This is another team to where they need to be very careful to not fall into what the Cowboys are, of how they're paying 3 players 60% of their cap.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't see. I mean, I know we have a lot of Bengals fans that we talk to. I don't see a way out of this to where they do it the smart way. Well, I do, but I don't. They've proven that they've never been able to do
They're
that.
going to have to cut one of them.
No, not
Or
cut,
no,
but
no,
you're,
they got to trade one of them. One of
don't
them's not going to be on the
know.
team next year.
I don't know. It's because Jamar Chase is going to be paid.
and
over
if he
$40
doesn't
million a
get
year.
paid from the Bengals of what he wants, he will go to another team who pays him what he wants. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
I don't care how much
Well,
he
they
loves
haven't
playing
had
with Joe
success.
Burrow.
They haven't won there yet, so he's
Well,
going
they-
to go where the money's at
they
and
kinda
a potential
have.
to
They made
win.
it to the
It'd be
Super
different
Bowl,
if he'd
but-
had a ring or two. That's not the
Ah.
case.
I don't know.
I
think like T Higgins is more likely to leave before Jamar Chase does.
Oh, 100%, 100%. There's no, I mean, if the Bengals let Jamar Chase walk, then that's a whole nother story. But I'm
Oh my
telling you,
God.
if they come to him and they're like, well, we're not going to pay you that, Jamar's going to look at them and go, okay,
Bye.
well, 31 other teams will,
Yeah.
if they can. That's
Mhm.
just the reality of it, and he's going to do that, and he will pick a team.
Probably.
I don't care. That's just how it is. That's what it's going to be. So you've got to figure out a way how to pay him and make it to where it does not hit the cap as least amount as it can.
Yeah.
Burrow's got to do something with his contract, and you've got to go out and build a defense. Bolton would be a huge
Oh my
a
God,
huge
yeah.
pickup for them.
Absolutely.
They already had pretty good sack numbers last year.
Mhm.
Keep that. find some good safety help. There's a lot of, draft those positions. So there's a lot of ways they can go about this that I think is smart. It's just the Bengals have never proven to do the
Hey
smart
man,
thing.
my team proved that they can make the smart decision every once in a while. The Bengals can too. It's
I have all the faith in them, and I love Joe Burrow. I
do
love
too.
Jamar Chase. I think they're some of my favorite teams to watch. But I mean, do you want to be known for making $40 million a year, or do you want to be known for having a good team and going to the Super Bowl? And some people are like that. and
Hopefully
some-
both.
Well, and even Burrow.
Yeah.
Like I have a feeling Burrow. Yes, does he want to get paid what he's worth? 100%. I have a feeling that he wants to win.
Probably.
And he's going to have to make some of these decisions like Tom Brady did, like some of these other guys, like Mahomes is doing to keep these guys around.
When can
him.
he make that decision where if he wanted to leave, he could leave?
Not
Who?
leave.
Who are we talking
Joe
about?
Burrow.
No,
Like-
not leave. I'm talking about change his contract up to
Oh, he can.
free up some
Sometimes it's
money
good
for
for a guy to
everyone
leave,
else.
I couldn't see Joe leaving Cincy.
Yeah,
ever.
I don't
think
he'll-
that's a
unless
player
some
that'll ever
crazy
leave.
stuff happens, like a Jared Goff,
Like a
Matthew
quarterback
Stafford
swap.
trade or something like that.
I mean, a Matt Stafford.
I
left
don't see it.
So,
Detroit
like,
after being
it
there
would-
forever.
It could happen later, like when Joe's like 32.
Yeah, I don't see it happening
still,
anytime
like,
soon though.
5 years away.
But that's
something
another
like that.
team that I am very intrigued to look at
Mhm.
of what they decide to do
Yeah.
when it comes to some of these big names that are.
Yeah, the
being-
Bengals, the Chiefs are going to be interesting to watch. I mean, obviously the Bears. I'm very excited to see what the Bears do in the offseason. I'm trying to think of other teams.
Patriots.
The Patriots. Oh my God, the Patriots. The Commanders, another
Yeah.
team that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to. It's
Falcons. I would
Broncos,
say, in a way, the
Broncos as well. Broncos are not far off.
Steelers with their quarterback
Yep,
situation and what they
Steelers.
decide to do.
Tennessee,
There are a lot of good teams.
Minnesota.
really the whole. Oh man, Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah.
There's a ton to talk about. when the
NFL
new league year-
Combine starts this Thursday. We
Tomorrow.
have
Well,
yeah,
when we're posting, it'll be going on.
it'll be going on. Well, it started, but player on the field stuff starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
But some of the guys we have listed this year's running back core is very very
Stacked.
deep.
This is
we have
probably the most stacked we've ever seen a running
we've
back
got
class, I'm
we've
not gonna
got
lie.
a handful of them named, but there are a lot.
Oh,
that
there's
ha-
more than just that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even list the people that are
Quarterbacks though,
surefires.
you know what I am seeing though is a lot of players are not participating in on-field activities.
Yeah, they're waiting for their pro day.
Which I don't blame them. Like, what do you have left to prove?
In
Like,
my opinion, I think the combine should only be these meetings. I feel like the combine should probably be done away with, but they won't because it drives in TV ratings because they
gives
televise
something
it.
to talk about.
Yeah, it gives them something to talk about, but they should just leave it to the pro days because realistically, those players are getting to train with their other. They're not throwing to a receiver they're not familiar with, which you're not going to be doing that in the NFL for the most part. Like you train with these guys, and so why wouldn't you want to see?
Well, and you're
what-
throwing on air. You're throwing on
Yeah.
no one in your face. You're throwing
well,
on
that. So, but that it would be the same as in a pro day, but at least you're getting the player's best like form. Like they're comfortable. They're in a place they know. They're throwing a ball to a person they know. And so it's like stuff like that. I think pro days are way better way to gauge how a player is going to look. And then you could honestly, if you get rid of the combine, just move those drills that you would have done to the pro day.
Well,
I feel like they do some of them
What
there
if you made
anyways,
it like the way
40.
they do the Senior Bowl, and you literally have them go
Senior
through
Bowl.
various drills the whole time? You're not really. I don't know.
And then
Some
they-
schools don't have pro days. I mean, you're going to still have
Yeah,
guys
make
slip
more
through the
pro
cracks.
days. Make more pro days. That's my
Well,
that's
the
my
NFL draft could
argument
be
is-
used towards the guys who, like, instead of Sanders taking up a spot, because only
because you
so
know
many,
he's going to get drafted.
only so many people are invited.
Cam Ward, you know he's going to get
Inst-
drafted.
And then those guys going, yeah, well, I'm not doing anything. I just want to have the meetings.
Yeah.
Cool. You can do that whenever you want.
Mhm.
But with the part that kind of makes me go, well, that kind of sucks, is he's taking up a spot of a guy who could maybe really, really use the NFL Combine.
Oh yeah,
So that's the
Yep.
part where I look at it and I go, I think it's great and I think it's a good thing. But it's not a good thing when half the guys who you invite
your stars.
aren't even participating in any of the
Janty's
on-field.
not participating.
And I
either.
don't blame him.
No.
What more does he have to prove? What more does
nothing?
Cam Ward have to prove? What
Nothing.
more does Abdul Carter have to prove?
Exactly.
Like
Well,
it's
Yeah.
not going to
Who
do
cares
anything.
how fast they can run a 40? Like seriously.
that too.
It just doesn't matter. But to a guy from Montana State or
Mhm.
Idaho State or
Yep.
one of these,
Idaho.
whatever, some of those schools that no one's heard
Does
of.
Idaho even have a college
Shut up, Dylan. Don't you
I'm
talk
seri-
shit about my schools back where I'm
But
from.
that's what I'm
Idaho
saying.
State,
I don't
Idaho
know.
Vandals. Come on now. Montana, the Montana
I
Grizzlies.
genuinely
Screw
didn't
the
know if
Bobcats. We don't
Idaho-
care about the Bobcats.
But that's my point. Is it sucks because it could be taking up some spots of guys who
Yeah.
could really, really use the
Definitely.
opportunity to get in front of these scouts in these teams.
But other
Um,
players are going. Some quarterbacks
yes.
that I think have a lot.
These
riding
guys
on
are
this.
participating.
These
in
guys
the
are
drills.
participating, and honestly, the one that I'm going to be watching to the most, and the guy that I think will end up slipping into the top 10 of picks. There's always a quarterback tax, and there will be teams that are quarterback needy trading into the top 10. It happens every single year.
It will happen.
And I think Jackson Dart is probably the one that ends up getting moved up for. I think he's the most pro-ready guy. Lane Kiffin's offense, pro style. He can make every single throw. I think he's going to have a similar rise up to the boards like what Zach Wilson did. But hopefully he doesn't pan out the same.
I like Kyle McCord.
I do too. I like him as well.
I think Kyle McCord is very what he did at Syracuse this past year went a little under the radar. I think.
Oh yes. Well, he transferred from Ohio State.
Yes, yes. I think Kyle McCord's. I'm not a big fan of Jalen Milroe.
He's got arguably the most riding on this combine because
Yeah.
he tanked his stock at the
But
Senior
you know what's
Bowl.
going to happen is
Tanked
he's
it.
going to go to this combine. He's going to look good because
Some team's gonna move up for him.
he's throwing to wide open guys, not
Yeah.
having to read a defense, not all this. So he's going to naturally look good.
I don't know. He didn't. Well, no, the Senior Bowl was kind of like, you had to read a defense. I would say Milroe, yeah, he's got the most riding on it. I don't think there's a scenario where he plays well enough to move him into the first round, but he could be a day 2 pick. While we're at the draft, we could hear his name called in like 2 or 3.
I think so. He'll be a second round or a third round. Someone will take him just for the pure upside. And who knows, maybe you move him to receiver because he is athletic as hell.
He's already said, unfortunately, he came out with
I don't care what
yeah,
he said.
age-old comment, what was it? You don't try to make a horse a zebra or whatever the hell he
Well,
said.
if he gets the NFL,
I'm not a
he
receiver.
can't play quarterback. Is he? Well, I'm done then.
Hey, if Tebow would have stayed, if he would have moved to tight end, he might still be in the league.
He did,
tried
and
that,
it didn't
but
work.
Too long.
But
Well, he
even
waited
Tim,
too long.
Tim Tebow, though, he at some point he was like, "Yeah, well, I still want to play, so I'll do anything." So Milroe,
I think someone who doesn't
buddy,
get
but-
talked about at all, and after the playoffs he had, and like the performances he put on after Michigan, like Will Howard. Nobody's talking about him. All he is 6'5" and massive, or 6'4", 6'5". He's got the intangibles to be an NFL quarterback.
yeah,
So that's a guy that realistically could end up rising a little bit.
yeah. I mean,
He played good.
he did. I'm not
really
saying he
good.
didn't play good. I just, it helps when you're throwing to 5-star receivers at Ohio
I mean,
State.
yeah, but you're going to be throwing to 5-star receivers in the NFL.
Ye-
You're just going up against 5-star talent.
Yeah. I will say though, I think there's a lot of people talking about Sanders.
I think he's going
And
to be
how-
good. I don't understand.
So this is the argument that people are saying, which makes a lot of sense. Is he is the most pro NFL style quarterback ready
100%.
going into the draft because of the sack rate he had, because of the I think
He doesn't
last
throw
run
interceptions.
game
Yeah.
in Power 5 football out of all the conferences. So out of a team that you're going to go to, you're not having a Will Howard, for example, who is throwing to just this amazing talent of all you have now. Yes, you had Travis Hunter. Yes, whatever.
Yeah,
but-
Jamie Horn was great. LeJontay Wester was great.
But look at all the challenges that he did have.
Look
where
at
you-
not this year. Look at what he did last year in the numbers he had on a
Yeah.
bad Colorado team for the most part. Bad O-line. Shador is going to be good in the league. I don't understand why people think he's not going to.
Well,
be.
you know why.
It's but
Just-
let's look at the body of work.
I agree.
He's such a he's a great quarterback.
I agree.
He's going to be so good wherever he goes. Situation still matters, organization still matters.
Yes.
But if the Giants end up with him, I would
7?
be, if the Giants end up with him at 7, wow. I think no. They picked before 7, I think.
I thought they have 7.
The Jets are at 7. The Giants
you're
are
right, you're right.
The Giants are at 3.
yeah, you're right.
The Giants are at 3. So
Yeah, I got
if
that
the
mixed up.
Titans take Ward and then the Browns for some reason take
The Browns I believe have come out and said they want to take a quarterback.
so they could end up with Shador. And that I don't hate. It's just the Browns have a little less to like on offense. I feel like they're similar, but Malik Neighbors, I think, is all you need on an offense. And the Giants are closer on the O-line. I think the Browns have an older O-line, and they have a lot of free agents.
Yeah.
And outside of Jerry Jeudy, you don't really
Giants
have a
picked
weapon.
third.
And Njoku's good. Yeah,
They have
Giants pick
three.
third. Yeah.
So I was mixed up between the two New York teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Going to the
lot.
running backs, though. The running backs, I think this has been
Stacked.
the deepest class of running
Ever.
backs in a long, long time.
Ever.
Just
This
to
is
kind of run
crazy.
off some of our favorites, though.
The Ohio
We've got
State
the
guys.
two guys from Ohio State.
Both
yes,
of them.
Both of them.
Both of them are gone before round 3, in my opinion.
very good. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee.
Dog.
Very good. Hampton from UNC.
Yeah, Omarion
very
Hampton.
good.
So if we don't end up taking my dream scenario for the Bears is that they address the O-line in the offseason when free agency starts, and then they use the pick on Ashton Jeanty at number 10. Only if we completely fix the O-line, because we could do similar to what Detroit did, reach on Jahmyr Gibbs, but you take a generational guy. It's the first round is meant for players that are far and above, like they're outliers, even at their own position. And so that, I would say, describes Ashton Jeanty. But the other guy that if we for some reason we end up going like pass rusher, Jalen Walker's available at that pick, and we go him instead, I want Caleb Johnson out of Iowa.
Or what if you can get an Ollie Gordon?
Ollie Gordon as well. Ollie Gordon
round?
is 6'2", I think. Like massive. And he was on a bad Oklahoma State team. Doesn't mean he's a bad running back.
Well, he
Look
had
at what
he
he did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think still Caleb Johnson's probably outside of Jeanty, Johnson I think is going to be the best running back.
Yeah, no,
He's a
and then of course you have
Scatabo.
everyone saw
Cam
Scatabo in the
I like him a lot.
and I think it obviously some of these guys are going to be very team
What if the
dependent.
Patriots took Scatabo to pair him with Ramondre?
I think we're getting rid of Ramondre.
Really?
I think so.
Y'all just paid him.
Yeah, I know, but he just has not lived up to that
He's been
expectation.
decent. He's just y'all have had a terrible O-line. He's never
Yeah,
had
yeah.
I think
He had a
leads
real
the league
fumble
in
trouble.
broken tackles.
He had a real fumble problem last year. And it
Yeah,
just
that
wasn't,
he did get benched.
so
the fumble
well. He
problems
did get benched, but still
Came
started.
back.
I don't know.
Y'all's situation last
We
year
were-
was almost as dysfunctional as
we
the
were
Bears.
all over the place. But and this is just a name.
This is just
this
a
is just a name. A
This is
handful of the running
our
backs.
favorites.
There's going to be some of the a running back. I guarantee you in
Oh
the
my
5th,
God.
6th round, where it's like
How did he fall?
he got drafted in the 6th round.
Well, this
and
is
he's playing this good
COVID
right now.
This is continuing to be like these classes for like the next not 3 or 4 years. But at this point, I think the COVID classes started graduating in like 22 or 23. So these next like up until probably 2027 is going to be loaded classes, like super seniors, like people that have been in college for like 6 or 7 years.
Yep.
And
with now the kind of the new rule change with going to you can go to not community college, JUCO,
and not have
or-
it count.
and not have it count. So now
Yep.
you're gonna have guys who are in. 4
Tell
or
me
5
why you
years
would
of
ever
college.
take a kid out of high school.
You wouldn't. Now,
Why would you ever?
with the transfer portal and with kids now going to JUCO and that year not counting, where it's basically just a prep school year for
Yep.
for 2 years.
for college, or 2 years. It's making it extremely, extremely hard for college or for high school athletes to come in and immediately make an impact, because
Yeah.
you're just not you
unless
wouldn't.
you're
Like, look
a
at it-
guy like Jeremiah Smith.
Unless
you know.
you're just an amazing one-of-one talent.
Yeah.
You're not. I mean, it's just not going to happen, and that's just the reality of it. I don't care what
crazy.
anyone says. Look at any profession. Look at any real life, job picking interview process. You're going to take the guy who has more experience over someone who's never done the job before. That's just the reality of it.
That's how it should
Well,
be.
but then you look though
And
at
that's-
what's
that's-
happening
that's
though,
how it
Dawson,
should
right now.
be.
Look at these two kids
That's
from right here.
it.
Look at these two kids
3
playing.
letters.
Now, you got two kids though on Army right now that are literally
Oh, yeah.
setting records.
I wasn't
of
even
a
trying to
true
do that.
freshman playing lacrosse. So you've got that happening. So it is. You're right. It's a one-of-one talent.
It's
It is
a-
very rare that two kids from your high school right now are
It's just
literally setting. Oh, they're playing unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just. But yeah, to keep on going down the list though, receivers though,
This is
receiver. It's another loaded list that
Loaded.
we just kind of handpicked some of our favorites.
crazy.
Burton from Missouri.
Luther Burden. It's
I
kind of
think
like
he's
a
gonna be
gadget
great.
guy, but he's He's
he can line up anywhere. He can run any
broke
route, I think.
tackles. Yeah.
Matthew Golden from Texas. There's
this
two
guy,
Texas
oof.
receivers along with
Yeah,
Isaiah
Isaiah
Bond.
Bond.
Those two guys were great.
Both of them are fast as hell, but I think Matthew Golden is probably the better route runner. I was looking at some tape of him last week. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That dude can move.
No,
but
I agree.
my favorite in the draft probably is either Egbuka from Ohio State
He's
or
really good.
Xavier Restrepo from Miami is going to be a dog. He's going to be a slot monster.
He's going to be a
when he gets
Wes
to the
Welker,
league.
Julian Edelman,
He's
Cooper Kupp
He's got
hybrid.
the Patriots written all over
I
him.
agree.
And
I
y'all,
agree.
I bet y'all take him in like round 3.
I wouldn't hate it.
Dude, he's awesome. He's got so many records at Miami. I think he was there like 5 or 6 years.
I would not hate
Crazy.
it. Yeah, and then the kid from Arizona,
Yeah, McMillan.
I think he's going to be really good.
6'5", dog.
Yeah, there's so many great talents. Whereas again, some of these guys are going to fall
Mhm.
to a team, and you're just like, how did we let that team get this guy?
And we'll let him talk about that this week or next week. But AJ,
Yeah,
talking to me about Jack Beck, the TCU receiver. He's gonna be good. He's his pick for best receiver.
do we know if all these guys are participating in?
Yeah, they are. I purposefully picked guys that
Okay.
I think other than McMillan, I'm pretty sure most of these guys, if not all of them, are participating
Gotcha.
on Thursday and then
Yeah,
later on. But
Yeah.
the tight ends, another one stacked.
This is another one. I wish somehow we could get this guy
Tyler
because
Warren?
I think he is a Gronk 2.0.
He's stud.
He's
a
so
beast.
good, and he
Yeah,
can block.
He's like 6'6".
He can catch. He can. I mean, he's fast.
Yep.
This guy, whoever he ends up going to, I don't think
What
he
if y'all
makes it.
take him at 4?
There's no way.
Okay,
There's no way. Now, if we trade back and we get a couple picks in the first round, I could see that of getting, if we have 2 picks in the first round. So that might be kind of cool. I don't know
man.
who we could trade with to get 2 picks in the first round. But this guy, I think Tyler Warren's going to be a Gronk, a Brock Bowers type.
Actually, so
player.
I would compare, because Brock Bowers, I would compare more to Travis Kelce than I would Gronk. But compared to Brock Bowers and Travis Kelce, the Bowling Green tight end, Harold Fannin Jr., is going to be a stud. And this was another guy that AJ put me on to before even the Senior Bowl when he created a name for himself. His route running, he's a stud. He's going to be like more like a Vernon Davis. Like, going to be fast, twitchy, will get open no matter
Red
who is
zone.
guarding him. Red zone, yeah. A mismatch. Even if a DB is guarding him, it's still going to be a mismatch because of the size. He's massive. Yeah. Probably my besides, obviously, Tyler Warren, we know is going to be good. Harold Fannin probably also fits into that category. And then the Miami tight end, too, Elijah Arroyo. I haven't seen too much of him until recently. And I think another guy that's going to be good. But there are a few more names, just ones that we didn't put in because the list is getting a little bit long. But yeah, there's so much talent.
There's
so much talent.
With all this drafts or the combine stuff, there will be guys that come out of nowhere that all of a sudden they run
always
a
do.
really fast 40, and then that shoots up on everyone's board. But the tight end, receiver, running back depth this year of guys who are going to fall that would be, a second round guy. He gets drafted in the 4th round. It's gonna be interesting to see which teams they fall to because I have a feeling we're gonna look back at it and go, how did San Francisco get that guy?
Yeah.
How did the Chiefs get that guy? How did
Mhm.
Buffalo get that guy?
Yeah.
Of these teams, where
Hopefully
it's
Chicago
like,
too. Let's throw Chicago in that.
Well,
list of
I
people.
mean, I just kind of named some of the better teams to where it's like,
Oh,
yeah, you
I
wouldn't
see.
think. Hey, it's not. Come on now. Come
Okay.
on now.
It's fine.
Come on.
It's okay.
It's not totally against me to say that
Duh, Bears.
Chicago hasn't been very
The
good.
Bears.
Sorry, Dylan. They're not one of the top teams yet.
Yeah,
fine.
I was a year
Yet.
early on my Bears.
Don't worry.
prediction.
That cycle's coming around.
It's
Beginning
coming.
of the season. There's lots of hope. March, what'd you say? March 12th? March 14th?
March 12th is when the league year starts, and then March 10th is really when you start hearing. That's when teams start releasing the people that they plan on signing. But to finish off this, we didn't go too much into defense because a lot of, I guess, lesser known names. I would say DB is pretty stout. There's a couple of big names at the top, but edge rusher is where I want to keep my focus. Because there are a lot of edge rushers that could be very, very scary when they get to the league. And obviously, names that we don't have listed, just people that are going to be good. Abdul Carter, stud, and then Jalen Walker from Georgia, stud. But the guy at the top of our list, Mike Green, the Marshall guy, I think we've seen plenty of videos from him at Marshall and the Senior
It
Bowl.
was the Senior Bowl, yeah, where he
Senior
made
Bowl.
a name for himself.
My God. Like, yeah, no one had heard of him. And which is crazy to think because he had a great year.
Well, and Marshall too was kind of on a team where their whole like team basically opted out. They couldn't participate in their bowl game.
That's right.
So he was on a team that kind of was just
Because their
For
coach
themselves.
left. Right?
yeah, their coach left,
so
all their players left. They had to opt out of their bowl game, couldn't play the bowl game. Yeah.
He had 17 sacks this
Yeah.
year. Chris, 17 sacks. I don't give a shit if it's at Marshall.
Is that more than the Falcons as a whole? That they had? I'm just kidding.
Falcons, if y'all don't
I'm just
draft
kidding.
this man, he's going in the first round. This
I'm
is a
just
guy
kidding.
that literally fell from like
If the Falcons don't draft an edge rusher in the first round, like people are gonna finally say, "I'm done with."
No,
this
you
team."
know what they're gonna do? They're gonna draft.
take a quarterback.
I was just about to say that. You gotta have a backup plan to the
I
backup.
mean, you gotta have a
plan,
backup
though.
to a backup.
God.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
another quarterback. Why not?
Oh.
Yeah, Mike Green is probably even before he competes at the combine or tests at the combine. This guy's going in the first round at some point, even if it's one of the last picks. He was someone who was expected to be like round 4 or 5, and just went to the Senior Bowl and blew up everybody.
Watch, the Chiefs are gonna get him, and it's gonna be like,
Probably,
that's
I
how-
would say. Or
that's how,
the, so
that's how
the,
it
the
works.
place that I keep seeing is either Washington at the end of the first round or Detroit in the end of the first round.
Detroit would be, yeah.
Washington would make
Washington,
both of them.
both of them,
Both of them are like that's their number one need, in my opinion. Detroit may
I think
take a
Detroit.
quarterback.
I think Detroit needs a linebacker.
Detroit needs a quarterback. It's Jared Goff. How long do you want to ride that? Pause.
Yeah, but
Jesus
yeah, but you could have
Christ.
you could have you could have someone come in though and want to play for Detroit now. So to me, that's
Yeah,
not the biggest
that's
deal
true.
of drafting a guy. I think you could ride. you could go with Jared Goff as long as you want, and at some point you can go, okay, we need another quarterback. and
Someone
it's-
has to come up with a better word
it's,
for that.
It's not gonna be this big deal.
not
of
gonna be a
trying
fun
to-
ride.
No, it's not.
I think the best draft pick of the whole year is going to be when Dallas decides to draft a new owner.
No. They're
Can
gonna
they
draft
do that?
another
Can they
receiver.
draft a new owner?
Another receiver. They need another receiver.
Yeah, but the stupid thing would be to draft another receiver.
Did you see the news that they're done with Trey Lance? They're moving on from him. Another fourth
Oh.
round pick wasted. Just wait until they move on from. Wow, I'm completely forgetting on his name.
Yeah, the receiver Mingo
Mingo, yeah, Jonathan Mingo.
that they traded and had what, 2 catches.
Yep.
It
This
was-
is his last year too. This is the end of his rookie deal.
keep on doing your thing, Jerry.
But more edge rushers. So this guy, only reason he's not being thought of as one of the top picks is character concerns, which I don't necessarily buy much into those until I see it for myself. And James Pierce Jr. has been victim of those allegations, rumors, whatever you want to call it. But he's still a stud. He played at Tennessee, absolute monster, and probably someone that will still go in the first 2 rounds, regardless of what you think about his character, because he's going to test out of this world in the combine. Whenever edge rushers go, I think they go Friday or Saturday, I believe, with linebackers. But another one, Michael Williams, who rushed, I think, opposite of Jalen Walker for the most part. I think he's number 88, if I'm getting that right. I don't know if you've seen a picture of him. This dude is like a tank, like a walking tank. And then arguably, outside of Abdul Carter, the best edge rusher that I think is Shamar Stewart, the Texas A&M guy. Long, lengthy. I think, and they're ironically SEC guys for the most part.
Well, and
outside of Mike Green.
I also think what everyone saw the Eagles do the past couple years of drafting at this position is going to put a little more emphasis and focus on these other teams kind of wanting to replicate that.
Shamar Stewart is 6'6", by the way, 290. So
Yeah,
lean and huge,
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
This is the guy that I think probably is like the Jared Verse of this year's class. I'm not talking about Abdul Carter and Jalen Walker because I think they're more like Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. talking about someone that had no reason to slip. Like he's gonna test out of this world, and so now combine thing, NFL in general is picking back up. There really is only like 2 weeks where it's kind of dead.
Yeah,
and then you get right back into next season.
Once the free agency stuff all starts happening too, that everyone gets excited about that, and the whole cycle just starts again.
It's a cycle. It's a cycle,
really
guys.
Is. It really is. Well, that's gonna wrap it up though. Like we kind of said, we are going to talk to AJ, our guy who will be at the
right now he's working.
Not maybe, but he's worked a lot in that.
He is doing work with the Miami Dolphins right now, and then he's actually, so his goal, we'll let him talk about this a little bit next week as well, but his goal is eventually to be a scout. Like that's what he wants to do for the Dolphins or for college at some point. But yeah.
So he's taken a lot of time of kind of, really.
Like I said,
speaking of eventually doing what you want to do, Dylan, come on now. You took one big step towards being a sports agent.
I'll take a second to, I guess, congratulate myself. Yes, I got my LSAT score back today. 154, so that is in fact good enough to be admitted into law school and pay a shit ton for tuition.
Congratulations.
Yay.
When I'm a professional, I want you to be my agent.
I got you. I'll be your debt. Hell no.
I'm just kidding. No, that is really cool. That is really cool.
It'll be fun to get AJ on the show.
It will be fun. I think AJ, he's got a good
insight to the league.
He's got a good character. He's
a Colts fan who thought Anthony Richardson was the answer. So
I can't wait. I can't wait for him to have to look at me in the face and go, "You were right."
Well, I hope this gets highlighted next week. AJ is. The reason I love him so much is he is the master at pushing this person's buttons.
He does, but I know what he does, and I know half the shit that he says is just him doing exactly what you just said.
He loves pushing buttons, and he knows you.
You played 4 years in high school with him,
yeah.
Right? So
we both played football with him. He played 4 years in college, just like
He was a hell of an athlete.
Oh yeah,
he was, and he does know how to push my buttons.
Yeah, it's always been like that.
It has always been like that. So we're looking forward to talking to you, AJ. That'll be fun. But yes, thank you guys again. I know we kind of took a week off. We hope
we're back.
We're back. Hopefully nothing else happens that causes us to miss. If we do, it obviously it happens. That's life. Yeah. But yes,
leave a like on the video.
Leave a like on the video.
Drop some comments.
Spotify, YouTube for the full stuff, and
follow the social media pages.
Social medias for all the short clips and other content that happens throughout the week that we post on our story to interact with.
Thank you for all the support as well.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Yes, sir. It's been real, guys.